It doesn't seem like that.
Morning. Morning.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Thank you all very much for being here today. Good things are worth waiting for and fighting for. And you are standing in a good thing. And I think it's incredibly important that as you stand along, you can see on the walls here, you can see throughout the building, people who invested in faith. People who took a leap. I know Bob, I've heard this story from a variety of people that he would bring them over to this building and there was leaky roofs, if there was a roof at all, there was wildlife, mud puddles, you name it. And people must have looked at Bob and said, you've got to be kidding me. We can't do this. And even though Center County had been home to the APS for more than half of its existence, he said, you got to take a leap of faith. And today, I hope when we stand here, we can say Bob was right. So, what I would say is it's incredibly important and it's so significant that we now have a new home. And this is the crown jewel in it. And I want to thank everyone who's helped us get there along the way. I see Mr. Wood in the back, and he actually had such a leap of faith. He took a space here before we did. And he's been a good friend to the APS and the APRL over the years, and I can't thank you enough for what you've done for us. And I look at all the friends out there in the audience, and like I said, please do walk through, and you'll see names on the walls of people who invested in faith. Some of you are here with us today, some of them are no longer with us. But we're not done. Not by a long stretch. I think this is proof that the hobby is still very strong and that we as a society are very strong. And we have work to do. Because now that we've built this wonderful location, we've got to keep giving people a reason to be here. And so the challenge today for all of you is when you walk out of here, I want you to feel very good, but I want you to be committed to the idea that this place needs to be here for 60, 70, 130 more years. And we've got to go make sure that the next generation truly appreciates what's inside these walls and can access the knowledge, the research, and the information just like you all have over the years. I mean, you can tell how important it is by all the fine folks who've joined us today. I'll do some introductions as we go through the event, and then we'll do a ribbon cutting. First, and Roger Brody is the president of the American Philatelic Research Library. Roger has been in the position for 5 years. He's been a tireless advocate for improving this. He's been able to oversee quite a bit of the changes, and so Roger, we appreciate having you here.
Thank you. Good morning. On behalf of the trustees of the American Philatelic Research Library, I'm certainly pleased to have you all here today. This is obviously a big day for us, and it's because of the work of hundreds, if not thousands of people who contributed their time and their pocketbooks to make this all happen. So thank you very much for coming.
Just recently, Vic Zase was elected president of the American Philatelic Society. Prior to that, he was on the board of vice president, so he's had a pretty good seat in seeing all the things that we've done over the years. And with that, Vic Zase.
What an impressive display, not of the books and journals around us, but of the people who've gathered from around the country to celebrate this occasion. They've traveled from as far as Portland. And as all of you know, Bellefonte is not an easy place to get to. One of my favorite coaches, Bobby Knight, said there are away games and then there's games against Penn State, which is a camping trip. But I think the presence of so many people from so far away who've made the effort to be here for this special occasion is testimony not only to the passion that we have for our hobby, but for the bonds that draw us together in a community that's united by a common interest and united by friendship and association. So it warms my heart to see so many people who have committed so much time and effort to make this a reality, to be here today. And thank you so much for being a part of this celebration.
Proudly representing the 5th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives is a Bellefonte native. When I first took the position, I got a phone call from the staff that said, would you come down and meet GT? And I thought, what did I do wrong? But what I found over the time that I've gotten to know him is that he's an incredible friend, so much so that he's dedicated staff to making sure that we can create again a Philatelic caucus on Capitol Hill so that we can raise the profile of the hobby. And we have a great relationship, and I think in the years to come we'll have get even better. And so please welcome G.T. Thompson.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this very special occasion today. This one of many milestones, I think, in the life of this society when we celebrate here today. To open this great resource for the community, for the region, really for the people of the nation who are involved in stamp collecting. I want to start by thanking the American Philatelic Society Director, Scott English, who has become a good friend and a partner to be able to work together, and all those in leadership that made this happen today, all the members of the society staff for making this research library possible. And I know that this is an effort that goes back more than a decade, with roots that started in strong leadership and with a legacy of service and leadership to this cause. And I'm proud to see that all their hard work was rewarded in the opening of this beautiful facility. And this very rich facility in terms of the history, the resources that can be used by all those going forward. For my part, I continue to highlight this treasure, obviously, in Pennsylvania's 5th Congressional District. Very proud that it's here, right in the heart, in a town that I was born in. In the upcoming 115th Congress, I am, as Scott had mentioned, very much looking forward to starting the bipartisan Philatelic caucus, focusing the issues connected to stamp collecting. You know, this center is home to thousands, if not tens of thousands, of items, including the inverted Jenny, which we've probably talked about more than any other item in recent history. A rare stamp recovered after decades of mystery, involvement by the FBI, and black market deals. Sounds like a basis for a great movie. We're going to have to work on that, see if we get someone interested. The story behind this stamps recovery is a true page turner that really should someday end up on the New York Times bestseller list. I hope everyone enjoys today's celebration and appreciates this great resource that we have here. Thank you so much for those who contributed to making this happen. Thank you for all for being here.
As a society of stamp collectors, not all of us can appreciate being able to find the greater detail in whether a stamp is centered, whether it's colored right. Center County Regional Authority also has a particular eye for detail, and I think for all of us who've been working on this library, we know that we've gone through a very stringent test in order to get this library here. Joining us today is one of the Center County Commissioners, Mike Pipe, and we want to appreciate all that you're doing to support us.
So good morning, everybody. I want to say that this is I'll be honest with you, this is my first time being in the room here, and I still remember about 5 years ago going through with Ken Martin, and it was, I think, a dirt floor or gravel floor, and I am just sort of taken aback. I mean, this is phenomenal. It's incredible. As a county commissioner, we work right up the road in an old hospital, and it's always great that when we can reuse buildings here in the community. So this is just so phenomenal. And as my uncle is actually a letter carrier, and so I'm thinking of him especially today as we celebrate the long historic tradition of stamps and stamp collecting here in America. And must say, I have to admit, I actually was a stamp collector when I was younger, and it's sort of all rushing back to me. I still remember the first set. It was the 1996 Summer Olympics, and they had a stamp for every single event, and I actually lost one. I think it was the cycling one, and I could never find it. So by the time so by the time I leave, I'd love to find one and just kind of take a look at it to finish my collection. I still have it, and just to end on this note, in terms of collections, in terms of having things that are special, only one community can really say that we have this research library, and Center County is really blessed and fortunate to be able to say that. So any support you need, we'll be here. Thank you so much.
And as many people know, you never stop collecting stamps, you just take a break. So we'll have you back. I've lived here now for about 14 months, and we are proud to be a part of the community here in Bellefonte. And Randy Bracco, who is the Vice President of the Bellefonte Borough Chamber, has joined us today. He also has the distinction of, I didn't know this when I hired her, but being married to the Education Director, Kathy Bracco. So that's his claim to fame, but he's also the Vice President of the Borough Council. So with that, please welcome Randy Bracco.
Good morning. I couldn't say how many people were here, but wow, this is great. It's my pleasure to be here this morning and take part in the grand opening of this beautiful research library. It's also my honor to represent Bellefonte Borough Council by congratulating the APS and APLR on the successful completion of your research library renovation. I also want to congratulate and thank you for your commitment made years ago to Bellefonte and the work and vision involved to make this facility what it is today. Your vision has brought 15 new businesses and 175 employees to the Bellefonte area. The vision and guidance of your association provided to complete this massive renovation of this facility is to be considered a top economic and historic preservation project that sparked the revitalization of Bellefonte. The APS and APLR Historic Preservation Project is now the anchor to the south side of the award-winning Talleyrand Park, which leads north to the newly completed floodwall and walkway. Sometime next summer, the north end will be anchored by another historic preservation project with the reopening of the Gamble Mill. From there, the vision leads to new development and growth along the waterway, and it all started here with the APS and APLR. Thank you for your vision, thank you for your commitment, and thank you for choosing Bellefonte.
A man who needs no introduction. I'll take it back to Center County for a moment. Mark Higgins, who also agreed to speak, I think may have gotten lost in this big building and didn't make it to the airmail room in time, but we really do appreciate having you here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mark Higgins.
I thought I was just here to cut a ribbon. But thanks everyone for coming. I've been working with Ken Martin for many years. The American Philatelic Society has done wonderful things for Bellefonte. This facility is absolutely gorgeous. Anyone with eyes can see that. I know a number of years ago, this was a decrepit, run-down hazard of a warehouse. And the American Philatelic Society and Ken Martin put their heart and soul into the building, and you can see how absolutely gorgeous it is. As some of the prior speakers mentioned, the American Philatelic Society has been one of the leaders in Bellefonte for the Renaissance of Bellefonte. I know a lot of you were at the grand openings a little over a month ago, where we had 14 simultaneous grand openings of businesses in downtown Bellefonte. I know Ken was there, and a number of the other people up here on the stairs were there. Wonderful things are happening in Bellefonte, and I think we have to give a lot of credit to Ken Martin and the American Philatelic Society. And of course, the people of Bellefonte. Thank you, everyone.
Since taking over as acting director last year, she's now full-time director, she's been confirmed. Marion Penner has been actively showing up at stamp shows, stamp clubs. She's been here multiple times now. And I know that we have a friend in stamp services with Mary Ann. And so if you would please give a warm welcome to Mary Ann Pinner.
Well, good morning. First, please let me thank all of you. I am so honored to be here today representing the U.S. Postal Service. As the Executive Director of Stamp Services, I cherish the relationships I have with my partners in the postal history community. During the summer session, I was fortunate to receive a private tour of this library, and the time, effort, and dedication for the restoration of it was so evident that it made me realize the compassion and care that was spent just acquiring the items within. So this is nothing short of phenomenal. I personally developed an interest in the Daniel Hines Airmail Archives. Who could not be interested in the lives of the airmail pilots who began flying Hell Stretch in 1918 and refueled their planes right here in this community? I think you'll agree that within these four walls, it's the most exquisite collection of philatelic. In the words of John Nicholas Luff, philately embraces the whole earth, and likewise the whole earth is sometimes embraced within the limits of a postage stamp. This library represents the unlimited ability of dreams, efforts, and true devotion to this hobby, which will not only amaze and inspire future generations, but teach them the value of preservation and conservation. Thank you for inviting me to participate in this long-awaited day. Enjoy and remember, every day is a stamp day. Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, the man who got us here today, who started the journey, one of my predecessors as executive director of the American Philatelic Society. You know, Bob, they talk about Colonel DeVos, they talk about Clay Musser, but I think you've been emblematic of what I'm trying to strive for here. Bob is proof that you can't think big enough and believe enough in the hobby to get something done. And it wasn't an easy journey, but you did a hell of a job. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bob Lamb, Ambassador.
Seems like just yesterday. I was standing about 30 feet from here in what we affectionately knew in those days as Building 1. Building 1 was a rainy day in Bellefonte, and it seemed like every time I tried to give a tour of the building in those days, it would rain. To say that the roof leaked is an understatement. We were trying to give a presentation. Frank Cynthia was behind me moving the architectural renderings to try to keep them from getting wet, and we kept hoping that the puddle of water wouldn't get up to the feet of the philatelic VIPs, the board members, and other important people in the hobby while we were giving the presentation. We were trying to get them to buy into a dream of a headquarters that was befitting to an organization with the stature of the American Philatelic Society and the American Philatelic Research Library. Most of them did, and if you'll pardon a probably inappropriate metaphor, a lot of water's been over the dam since that time. Maybe that's embarrassingly appropriate metaphor. But a lot of people have picked up that baton. A lot of people have done a lot of work, given a lot of time, and given a lot of imagination to making this into a wonderful facility. I think it's in the hands now of some very good people with Mick and Roger and Scott and Ken Martin. And I think that we have seen a lot, we've seen it grow, but the future is still very broad, and we can do a lot for the hobby here. And thank you all for the support you've given the societies and the building over the years. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for being here. With that, we're going to... We found the biggest pair of scissors we could. And I'm going to give these to Roger. Handle first, of course. And maybe if you would join in. Okay.
You ready? We get a 1, 2, 3.
That concludes this part of the program. There are cookies and there will be book signings and book sales over in Sunman Hall. There will be tours of the building. You can walk around freely as well. You are at home. Please make yourselves that way. Thank you all very much.